What if you could talk to some of the top AI business minds in the world to extract wisdom, knowledge, to get a better understanding of the overall landscape? Well, that's exactly what we're going to start doing right now, today. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the AI for Everyone Daily Brief.
Well, I am really fired up for today because this is the official kickoff of our AI interview series. This is something I have been wanting to do for a long time, and it just feels good to kick this thing off and get it started. And I couldn't ask for a better guest to kick this whole thing off with than a gentleman named Chris Daigle, who we have coming into the LaunchReady.ai studio here. He is the founder, the CEO of ChiefAIOfficer.com. Doesn't really get much better than that. He is the host of the Using AI at Work podcast, a podcast I highly recommend. I've already listened to a handful of episodes, and it is very, very good content. And he has an executive AI immersion program that you can find over there at ChiefAIOfficer.com, and he works directly with leadership teams. So he wants to make AI adoption very simple, very practical, and ROI driven. So enough with the introductions. Let's get to the conversation. This is good. Well, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here. It's my favorite topic.
I love it. Well, we are going to have some fun today, and I think we will create a lot of value for anybody that's watching or listening to this, because we have a lot of the same, we have a lot in common, but there's so much going on in AI that nobody has the same experience. But before we jump into the AI portion, I think it's important for people to understand where you came from and why you are where you are today. And I know you're entrepreneurial, you've worked in marketing, you've even worked in real estate. So let's talk a little bit about that lead up. And then what was your aha moment when you knew AI was the future and this is where you wanted to move your career?
Yeah. I guess I arrived in generative AI, how a lot of people have over the past couple of years. I didn't have a career in anything technical, really. And prior to that, I'd been doing business development immediately prior to that, at leading business development at the largest private equity fund in Beverly Hills at the time. So not a technical thing, a conversational thing, a rapport building thing, a relationship building thing. And then I guess COVID, I was kind of doing some consulting, remote consulting, helping companies with what I call growth architecture, kind of leveraging models like scaling up and EOS and things like that to help other companies kind of identify where some constraints might be in growth. And I saw ChatGPT come out, 3.5 come out, and knew it was going to be a huge opportunity for someone else. I thought it was a technical thing. I wasn't that guy, but I knew, I was like, oh man, this is it. And pretty quickly I started using it like a lot of people do, I guess, or did when they first got started, like Google. Because I didn't really understand the natural language interaction and the capabilities of the models at that time, even at 3.5. And I was watching, so my Colby index, if anybody knows what that is, I'm a high fact finder, high quick start. So my my MO when it comes to learning something or discovering something is very quickly immerse in a subject just intensely. And I happened to be watching a podcast with Peter Diamandis and Tom Bilyeu called The Impact Theory. It was a vodcast, whatever. And Tom was like, hey man, so like somebody who's wants to start using AI right away, what's your advice for me? And if you don't know Peter, he's like a futurist. He's had a very successful career of kind of predicting technology's impact in the next 12, 18, 36 months when it comes to business and lifestyle and stuff. And he said, Tom, I'm telling everybody that I work with and all the companies I advise that they need to have a chief AI officer. And he said, but it's not somebody who's going to fine tune an LLM. It's not somebody who's going to come in and do the data science work. It's somebody that understands business, but is paying attention to this generative AI landscape. And they're able to kind of translate, because of that business context, that business experience, they're able to look at it through that lens and go, ooh, generative AI can help here. ChatGPT can do this. Oh, custom GPTs can help this. And I loved that idea. I said, man, that's something I can do. And I think within 24 hours, I bought the domain chiefaiofficer.com, thinking that I was going to be a chief AI officer, which I've been certified and everything now. But my next thought was, no, let's take this one step further. You've got a framework for scaling businesses. You understand how to evaluate businesses from your growth architecture work. Why don't you teach people the strategic side of growing a business and AI, using AI, and the tactical side of what these tools are? What are the modalities? What's the, what is an agent? This was back in 2023. And we hired, a fantastic faculty. I went and sourced people who were doing cool stuff from MIT's business school, from, people who were MBAs, PMPs. And I took all their perspectives and made a curriculum over about 6 months. And we ended up launching the International Association of Chief AI Officers and all that good stuff. And at this point, we've certified hundreds, have gone through and completed successfully the certification program. But I think at this point, just through free trainings and stuff like that and paid trainings, we've probably trained about 10,000 non-technical business professionals how to be an AI, expert level user of AI, let's say.
I love
Pretty
it.
cool.
Well, let's go a little bit deeper with that.
Yeah.
Because when that term first came out, in my old videos, I used to say I was your chief AI officer. So that term initially, though, because I felt the same way as you, that I had to jump in and learn Python and all this neuro stuff, right? All the technical side. And I think a lot of people did too, because they looked at the chief AI officer as being more the CIO, the CTO, and that they were going to run it. But you and I have been marketers throughout a chunk of our career, and we both know that typically CTO, CIO, and CMO are not even close to being on the same page or wavelength, especially when you're talking about dealing with other people, getting the point across and all that. So I quickly understood there needs to be kind of two separate roles, right? There's the technical side of AI, the guys that are developing the technology. Then there's people like us who's out there. And I love, because look, I'm about nobody gets left behind. Yeah. And you are trying to make this accessible to everybody as well. And we need a bunch of us out there making this happen as fast as it's moving, right? But people need to understand this is a creative role that focuses on bringing everything together, because AI is going to impact, and tell me if you agree with this, every aspect of the company from here on out.
Yeah. So we kind of look at it two ways. Yes, before ChatGPT 3.5 came out, there was a role called a chief AI officer, but it was the MIT data scientist or whatever, right? But we kind of see AI as now two branches. There's analytical AI is what we call it, which is the data science, the neural networks, the fine tuning of the LLMs and that sort of thing. But there's this branch of AI that we call applied or operational AI. And that's the stuff that most of your listeners, especially if they're non-technical business professionals, that's the side of AI that they're dealing with. And you don't need to be, you don't even need to understand how an LLM works, just like you don't know why the light turns on when you flip the switch, but you can flip the switch. So we see it as companies, they assume, okay, AI is a technology, artificial intelligence. We should have the tech team leading this. And my answer is heck no. Reason is because to be good at the applied AI or the operational AI, the stuff that really matters on a day-to-day for most of your employees, somebody needs to understand the job that an employee does, the process, the points of interaction they have with other team members and other departments. And the tech team, they're, I guess they're not always known as being the personable, right? They're the ones who are heads down.
They're a little socially awkward. We'll say that.
Everybody's seen that movie. So I think it would be a big mistake. I think if anything, if you have the tech team leading it, certainly have the tech team involved in the conversation from a security perspective, or, what license are we going to get people? Are they going to get GPT teams? Are they going to get whatever? But if you have them do it, two things are going to happen. One, they're going to be overly cautious and they're going to slow it down. Two, they're going to overcomplicate how to use these tools. And three, I think that they're not really going to land with the day-to-day user. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do it recklessly. one of the first things that we always advise companies is let's get your people tuned up on AI, but first let's establish a use policy. How do you guys, like, we'll give you advice, we'll make suggestions, but how do you want your employees using it? And then let's train them on the tools we want them to use through the lens of that use policy, so that people aren't out there going rogue with it. There's very clear guardrails within what you expect them to do. And if you do that, at that point, you kind of turn them loose because they know how to use it safely. They've got tools that we can get into, our positions on, can you trust the tools and everything? My short answer is yes. Aligned incentives. They don't want, they're in a money grab, right now. And if it came out that ChatGPT was using your private information to do this, Gemini would exploit that, Claude would, they would be out of business. So I just don't see them wanting to do that. But that's kind of my take on it. As far as the who should lead it, we actually see that it's a brand new role. It should be somebody that understands operations, like how the gears in the business, fit together. Doesn't have to be your COO though. Marketing, sure, they understand the power of language. So having somebody from marketing perhaps get involved in teaching the teams how to have that communication with the models to get the right results. Sales, not really a fit necessarily. Finance, they can use it, but I wouldn't have the finance person in charge of like an AI rollout or the head of your AI council. So that's a framework that seems to be very approachable, very easy for companies to understand and implement.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the reality of AI, because there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much hype, all of that's going on.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about the reality of where we're at, because we saw, I don't know, it was the early part of the year. We saw a handful of companies that were talking about, we're laying everybody off. If AI can do the job, we're not hiring. Some of those companies actually ended up hiring people back because it was
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
We just saw a report here not that long ago, couple weeks, I think, something like 85% of these AI rollouts fail.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how true all that is. I can tell you in my world, it's definitely not that high. But of course, we're not dealing with super sophisticated rollouts
Yeah.
in what we're doing, right? But where do you think we are in all that? I know a lot of people have a lot of fear that AI is coming after their job, and I think
Yeah.
there's some validity to that.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's just going to make our jobs easier, and we're going to be more productive. And there's going to be this that look. If you hate your job, I always walk in to ask somebody, "What's the one thing you hate most about your job?
Yes.
The one task, the one thing that's tedious. What if I could just get that out of your hair? Would that
Yep.
make your life better?" And when I'm talking to these people, I'm saying, if you hate your job, losing that job shouldn't be a big deal
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Yeah.
Or if we
Good
can
point.
improve the job you have and put you in a place where you can actually get up and enjoy going to work, I think that's
Yeah.
it. So the question here is, where do you feel we are in this cycle?
Yeah.
And tell us what AI is right now and what people can really expect from it.
So I'm going to start with addressing that. It was, I don't know, somebody notable did that research, right? It was a shocking number of pilots that failed. But if you dig into that report, they were measuring it exclusively on ROI that they could track from those pilots. But you said it earlier, right? If I can go in and I can make somebody more productive, maybe like their morale is boosted because they're not doing the crap work, AI is assisting with it, doing it faster. Is that a failure of a pilot? I don't consider that to be the case. Like, how do you measure? Well, they've got more productivity. What's the exact ROI? I don't know. As long as you're not letting them, spend that time on Instagram, they're doing more work with that bandwidth. It might be the work they like doing. It might be that now they've got a chance to collaborate with another department on something, but it is impacting the ROI. It just may not be, the attribution may not be as precise as if it was what they were looking for in that report. So anybody listening to this that saw that report, please don't be discouraged. We have conversations every day. We go back and check in with companies on a regular basis that we've worked with, and we're always curious. So before we get started with, the follow-up, hey, who's had some wins? And every single time, it's like I get a huge smile because I see these people, they get it now. They're having, like one guy today he created training material. It was for a client of ours that makes ambulances. right? And he was creating training material, and it was something they had to do regularly. He said it used to take about 4 hours of my time every time I put one of these together. He said now it's about 3 minutes, and the quality is 95%. I go in there and I put a little polish on it. But to him, and this was a guy who like had been a little hesitant, reluctant during the training when we had it, hadn't checked in with him for 30 days. And here he is, he's building something so those are wins. I wouldn't call that a failed pilot. Now, as far as hype, this happens all the time. So we at Chief AI Officer, we have a Chief AI Officer named Adam Lyons, who's probably one of the most clever users of the models because strong psychology background, strong marketing background. So he's thinking about this in all kinds of ways to, but what if I asked it that question this way, right? So he's always kind of like playing with stuff. And he'll tell me straight up something like Nano Banana came out. That's the first time it's Gemini's new image model. That's the first time something's come out and he said, it's ready. Usually he's like, it's not there yet. And this is what we tell people. We'll go and oh, have you tried this? Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work. Well, when's the last time you tried it? It was a few months ago. No, dude. Like, try it. Like, these models improve weekly, monthly, for sure. If you haven't tried a tool in a long time, and I say long time, say 90 days, you're like, it wasn't. Here's what I always tell people. It can't do that. And my response is, yet. Yeah. Any of these tools that you're messing around with, if it doesn't do something just right today, my rebuttal is yet. It's coming. They get better all the time. So, but as far as like, look, a lot of tools out there. We used to track about 4 major releases across tools and models every week in 2024. Now we're seeing some weeks with as many as 11 to 15 announcements from Claude and Perplexity and HeyGen, everybody who's doing stuff. So don't try to keep up with everything that's happening unless you are a Chief AI Officer and it's your job. My suggestion is find a stack. And when I say stack, it's whatever AI tools you want to use. Find the ones that work for you. And, but this one does that. Yeah, give yours will have it in 30 days or less, right? Like you're not going to miss out. Most of us, we don't need the precision of, well, Claude is better for coding. And most of us don't like, that doesn't matter. You can stick with one, whether it's Claude or Gemini, or maybe you're stuck with Copilot or you're using ChatGPT. We use ChatGPT. And I'll tell you what, anything that I need done as a knowledge worker, I can do with ChatGPT. I don't have to worry about all the other stuff. So that's my take on hype. Don't buy into it. Find something that works and stick with it.
Because you make an interesting point. Like for me, one of the things I do not enjoy doing is writing proposals.
Yeah.
Just not something I've ever really enjoyed, right? It's high stress. What's the opportunity cost that I'm putting in here? How much should my fee be for the time that I'm putting in? Am I overvaluing, undervaluing myself? What's the workload I'm putting into this? But now I have a system where I can bust out a proposal in maybe an hour, where before I might literally spend a week stressing about a proposal or longer.
Yep.
Now I can just bust it out and say, look, I got this much time. This is what I'm worth. This is what's happening. This is a good proposal. Here's the price point, and ship it out. And if they take it, great. If they don't, then it's just not the right time yet.
Another at bat.
When I do, I do a daily video covering AI news that's coming out. And before I could do like one a week. Well, now I have AI agents that go out and get the information and format it for me and put it into scripts and gets everything ready. Where before 2 hours of my morning was that research. Now it's down to about 30 minutes and I can shoot a video. Right.
Fantastic.
Now it does come at a cost. And I want to talk about this too, because I'm very curious if you're experiencing some of the same things I am. My short-term memory is really good, but I am noticing, and I've seen scientific studies, the longer-term retention of some of this stuff isn't very good. And I'm seeing that in my own life.
Yeah. We have a position on that, actually. And it started when we hosted the EOS National Conference in DC, and we spoke on AI, and our booth got swamped. And all these executives were like, hey, so we want to learn this stuff that you were teaching. And we thought we were going to deliver it via a 10-week cohort, live, blah, 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 blah. And without fail, they all, like, there was a disconnect. Wait a minute, this is AI. Why does it take 10 weeks? right? They just didn't quite make that connection. And, we asked the question, should it take 10 weeks? And I really thought about it. The old way of mastery, let's say, was I hopefully had an interest in a subject. I went to undergraduate. Maybe I read books on my spare time. Maybe I listened to podcasts. I went to advanced degrees. I got some experience. I went to conferences because the expectation was that me, as that expert in certain subject, when, hey, Chris, you're good at this, tell me blank. It was expected that I was able to recall that information, right? Like on demand. The new paradigm is not that at all. And I'll give you our chief AI officer, Adam. He has an equitable interest in a marine construction company. They build islands in the Red Sea. He doesn't have a background in construction, but they have him in those meetings because he knows how to craft the query, the input for the models, to be able to get them engineering level perspective on timelines or equipment needs and stuff like that. So this new paradigm is not that you be a master at a subject. It's that you know how to elicit, how to get the right information out of the models, because truly, and we teach it, we've got a framework called reverse prompting that it makes it super easy. But, as a result, I don't care so much, except for, personal memories of my family and stuff. I no longer feel like that retention is that important, as long as I've got access to, a model on my laptop, on my phone, on my desktop. It doesn't matter. I get the same result, and the effort at retention, like it's gone. Like there's no. I'm not saying that I don't remember stuff, but I wouldn't see it as an impediment by any stretch. I would see it as something that's like you're thinking in AI. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now as, and I'm old enough to remember when cable news first started putting
The
all the
chyrons,
scrolls on the
yeah.
screen. And I remember that first few months, like headaches,
Yeah.
it was a challenge because it was so much information coming at me all at once. And I'm the type of person, I want to soak up every bit
Yeah.
of it that I can. Now I get all of it without even thinking, right? You don't
Yeah.
even think about it. I turn on Fox or CNN or whatever I'm watching, and I can just consume all of it without even thinking about it. I kind of feel AI is going to be the same way for us, because we are soaking up more knowledge than we've ever been able to soak up in a very fast amount of time, and our brains just aren't caught up with it yet. That's kind of my position on it. We will improve. We will evolve. Our brain will. It's the same thing with 3D, with
Yeah.
augmented reality, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain point where our brain cannot comprehend that it's not real.
Yeah.
It is comprehending that it's real. And it's going to take time for our brains again to evolve through that. So on that point, this is what I want to end the conversation with. And I think we have to talk about this a little bit, but the future of AI.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of people that think all our jobs are going to be gone. We're going to be on universal basic income. This is the Antichrist, the apocalypse, Skynet, Terminator, on and on and on.
Yeah.
You know what? Everybody knows my opinion that knows me and watches this. Share with me what you see as the future and what's happening. And maybe it's in
Yeah.
different blocks of what's going to happen.
I could certainly say within the next 12 to 18 months, if you don't know this stuff, I mean, it's already the case. If you and I went to the same school, worked at the same company for the same number of years, and we score the same on all kinds of, measurements and everything, but I know how to use AI and you don't, I'm a much better candidate for that role. Even if you've got extra years ahead of me, I'm still going back to my reference. I can get access to information you don't even know about that is on the subject. There's no question that if you are not an AI-enabled user, you know how to use this stuff, you're just not as viable in the marketplace anymore. That's just the truth. And when you look, like, businesses are in business to make money. They are going to plug in the most efficient resources into their business. And if you are not AI enabled, you are not the most efficient resource. And the kid that comes along and says, oh yeah, just first job, but I know how to use AI like a whiz, done, right? So I say that already is the reality. Whether or not we've seen the impact of layoffs that are coming, I don't know. As far as the future, I I truly believe that AI is going to continue to develop and have the capabilities of every horror movie you've seen about the Terminator. Sure, we've already got robotics. I'm in Bastrop, Texas. Optimus is being built, 10 miles from me right now. Now, if you think about it, if you've got a humanoid feature, sure, it can wash the dishes, walk the dog, blah, blah, blah. But if it's empowered with, an AI with an IQ of 1,000, 3,000, right? Like, yeah, I mean, what do we do about that? Maybe we do go to Mars and we leave all the robots here. I don't know. But I wouldn't look. So what? So what are you going to do? Are you going to not use AI because of that? Your economic viability will be nil. So you kind of don't have a chance. That choice. That's my perspective on it, I guess, Harrison.
No, I agree 1,000%. I think we're going to see an initial kind of bloodbath that happens because you're going to have a lot of people that just aren't going to adopt it, right? They're going to fight it. They're going to push against it. I understand that, right? Human nature. But then I think we'll have a golden era.
Yeah.
I think we could see some diseases get cured. I think we could see some mundane jobs that nobody wants to do taken care of. I think we are going to see some innovation because of that.
Yeah.
It's not like we're just going to have a bunch of people running around doing absolutely nothing, homeless and starving, right? So we'll figure this out as a species. And then I think maybe our great grandkids might have the Terminator problems, but there's just nothing we can do about that. It's no different than the art of war. I mean, if you've watched much of the coverage in Ukraine and Russia, these drones, with AI and all the things that they can do and how warfare is completely changed because of that technology. Palantir, who I'm not really, we don't need to go into that, but everything that they're pushing within Washington and the machine. So I just think people like us, we need to do the best that we can do for our companies, for our families, for our lives, and just worry about the circle that is around us, that we have the ripples of impact from.
Agreed.
So any closing thoughts for everybody on really, let's just say that the people are just kind of intimidated or just unsure. Kind of end with a good note on what they need to be doing right now.
I will. Look, it's this stuff isn't that hard. How you get good at anything, repetition is the mother of skill. If you're not using it, start. Put a sticky note on your computer that says, reminder, use ChatGPT. Try it for, whatever. Maybe you start using it like Google at the beginning, because that's kind of like the context that you have in getting information from a computer. But you'll figure it out. And very quickly, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it could do that. And then that's going to open it up for you to really be, I would call you a power user, right? So just start getting your reps with this stuff and you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Well, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. I'd like to thank Chris Daigle for coming onto the program, for sharing his expertise with us. If you found value, please click that subscribe button, like button, share this with other people. We need to make sure that nobody gets left behind. That's really what this is all about here. So, all right, well, that's it for me today. My name is Harrison Painter. This has been your AI Daily Brief, the interview edition. And until next time, keep creating, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep up. God bless.